I'm starting a new series called the Mastery Series, and that's exactly what we want to do with regard to our body parts and our exercises. We want to master them. Today's video is going to be specifically on growing and shaping your arms, perfecting your arms. You want to have the size, but you've got to have the muscle quality. You want to see all the heads of the muscle, and they want to be in proportion. So let's take a look at that. Today we're going to start with triceps and then go right into biceps. One workout, 20 minutes. It's what I've preached before, but we're going to do a review. We're going to go into a little more depth this time. The close grip bench press is one of the few compound exercises for the triceps. The triceps have three distinct heads, the lateral, medial, and long heads, and all three are called upon for maximum recruitment during the close grip version of the bench press. Now here I'm doing 4 sets. I'm adding 20 pounds each additional set, except for the last set. Now these are back-to-back. Very little rest in between, just long enough to catch my breath. And this is what I call surge and break training. This is sets to failure, sets back to back. It's high volume. When you take a look at all the tricep and arm work I'm going to do today, it's going to be high volume, and this is how you get the ultimate pump. And the pump is what's going to grow that arm. Now this specific exercise is more for strength, but we do want to build that size, and this is a size builder also. So we begin with the close grip bench press because this is going to pre-exhaust our arms, and then we can go into the additional triceps movements that are more geared towards isolation. My first set is with 135 pounds. And I may end up with 205 pounds on my last set, but don't worry too much about the reps. Concentrate on getting a pump. Lying tricep extensions are one of the most stimulating exercises to the entire triceps muscle group in the upper arm. It works the triceps from the elbow all the way to the latissimus dorsi. Due to its use of the triceps muscle group, the lying tricep extensions are used by many as part of their training regimen. All of the old school bodybuilders used this exercise in variation. Now, if you watch me carefully, you can see that these are not what I call skull crushers, because I go behind the head and get a greater stretch, a greater range of motion in this exercise. Now, I always say go to failure on your sets. Now, if you're training alone, you may not be able to go to failure to the point you would with a spotter. You've got to be able to stop, get up, re-rack the weight. So you might get even a rep or two more with a spotter if you're not training alone. That would be great. Now, you want to make sure that you're doing sets to failure, sets back to back with as little rest as possible and enough volume. I'm going to do 4 sets of these because I have other exercises yet to do for my triceps. In order to get the isolation that you need with this exercise, you've got to remember to keep your elbows in and keep your elbows stationary as you perform the reps. The chair push-up is generally used by people who are training at home. They're just trying to strengthen their arms a little bit, or elderly people, and that's what you see on the internet. But bodybuilders do use this exercise. You'll see guys at the Olympia pumping up in the back room using a chair push-up. I use these twice a week, And I go for this exercise simply because it adds to my pump. It really adds to my pump. I love chair push-ups. Again, I can go very fast. I don't have to load, unload the weight. All I gotta do is catch my breath, and I can go back and get another set. Set after set, sets to failure, sets back to back. Go for the pump, feel the pump. You're after a pump. I love the 2-arm tricep kickback simply because I can work both arms at the same time and keep my pump, maximize my pump by doing so rather than one arm at a time and switching back and forth. Now, this exercise works the long head or that back head of the triceps. You can get a tremendous pump with this exercise, but you want to keep as rigid as possible. You want to stay in one position. You want to maintain your elbows stationary. You don't want to move your elbows around when you're performing this exercise because you're trying to isolate that long head of your triceps. It doesn't make any difference whether you use plates or dumbbells. Now, I use plates because I teach a system called the straight bar challenge for children, for young men and young women. Now, this system is geared towards people who don't have a lot of money. They have to train at home, and very often they'll have a bench press, a bar, and some plates. Hopefully some sort of a rack to squat out of, and of course you can always deadlift off the floor. But the system is geared towards people who have to make do with very little equipment, and this is one of those exercises that you can just use plates with to perform, and you can perform very well with just plates. Now, the tricep kickbacks is an exercise that allows you to get a maximum pump. It's probably the best exercise for getting a pump in that rear head, that long head of the triceps. Now, you've got to remember, in order to get a superior pump, a maximum pump, you've got to breathe deep into the bottom of the lungs. You can't just breathe shallow. You want to supply the muscles with the maximum amount of oxygen, and that's how, at least it's one of the ingredients into getting a maximum pump. The straight bar biceps curl is basic to your biceps training. It's the exercise that I begin with. Now, as opposed to a easy curl bar, the straight bar biceps curl is superior. Now, the easy curl bar was invented to take the pressure off the wrist. You can lift more weight with the easy curl bar, but the straight bar curl is superior for building the peak. If you just supinate your palm 100% so that it's flat, you can see that that in itself peaks the bicep. So this is a superior exercise for peaking that bicep, and I will do 4 sets back to back to failure with this exercise, and then go on to my next biceps movement. Now, the easy curl bar does tend to emphasize the brachialis underneath the biceps more, so that can be a plus or a minus depending on which muscle you want to emphasize during the workout. I like to use the alternating dumbbell or plate curls to work the long head or outside head of my biceps, because that's the head that you see the peak in. Now, I also, when I bring the plate up, I turn my little pinky finger out towards the outside of my body as I reach the top, and that brings out that peak even more. And as you train over time, you will increase that peak in that long head. This is one of those biceps exercises where you can really make your biceps hurt. I mean, it can be painful if you do enough sets, if you do them back to back and to failure. Now you want to be sure that you come up as high as you can when you curl these plates or barbells. You want to have maximum contraction and turn that pinky finger out towards the outside of your body. Get that maximum contraction in the peak. This exercise is so superior for working, for isolating the long head of the biceps, that sometimes I'll add 2 sets, because nothing works, nothing stresses the long head of the biceps like alternating dumbbell or plate curls. Now you can do this exercise with cables, but I found that since the cable is anchored at the bottom, that it does restrict my freedom of movement. It's not a natural movement, so I do not do cables. Vince Gironda, who owned Vince's Gym in North Hollywood, California, invented the drag curl. Now, what's special about this exercise? It eliminates any deltoid assistance in the curling movement. It is a isolation movement and a superior isolation movement. You will get a better pump with this exercise than you'll get with most exercises. It works the entire biceps, both heads of the biceps. You can use this as a finishing exercise, just going from set to set to set until you completely burn out. This is not my burnout exercise. I have one more exercise, and that's the 3-finger curl, simply because I have opted to add more volume to my biceps training. Although this is my second to last exercise, not my burnout exercise, I still do burnouts with this exercise, because I know that by the time I change the weight on the bar for the next exercise, my glucose, my glycogen has been recovered enough to continue with another exercise, 4 sets, maybe even more, and then I'm done with my biceps workout. The 3-finger barbell curl is an exercise of my own invention. I found that placing my 2 first fingers, my index and my middle finger, over the bar with my thumb gives me a complete biceps pump. I feel it in the long head, the short head, the top of the biceps, and the bottom of the biceps. You can place this exercise just about anywhere in your workout, at the front, at the back, at the middle. I prefer to use this as a finishing exercise, like I said before, simply because I've added more volume to my training. It does work the entire biceps, and I just tend to work 4 sets plus. I just go to burnout sets. I go as many sets as I can until I can't stand the pain anymore, and this has really increased the size of my biceps over the last year. Another advantage of this exercise is that, unlike any other biceps movement, this exercise makes it much easier to tuck your elbows in at your sides. The workout that you just watched is a 20 to 30 minute workout done twice a week, and the sets are to failure. They're back to back with very little rest in between sets. I know you have to take time to load and unload the bar, and you also have to have the proper volume. Now this routine that I did today is probably a minimum as far as the volume. Most bodybuilders, especially professional bodybuilders, are going to do much more. Now people come up to me all the time and ask me how to get big arms. They see my arms, they like what they see, and they want to know how I did it. And when I tell them that this is the method that must be pursued, they become very sad, because they don't have the wherewithal to do it. They're lazy, they want to take a magic pill. There is no magic pill out there. Yes, there are steroids, but steroids take you to the next level. They don't make you that huge, successful, ripped bodybuilder. It's the will, it's the heart to go through the workouts, to add sets, to add weight week to week, month to month, year to year. That gives you the size, it gives you the quality muscle. And then once you diet down for a show, you will have that ripped appearance, but you want to have a quality physique. And a quality physique takes a lot of time. It takes years. So you're in this for the long haul. This is a lifestyle, okay? This isn't going to happen in a year or two, okay? Mr. Olympia didn't become Mr. Olympia in a year or two. These guys have got 25 plus years under their belts. So you need to have that mindset, okay? And then I guarantee you, in the long run, eventually you will succeed. Some people will succeed sooner than others, but you will succeed if you follow these techniques to the letter,